Paula is the typical non-believer in the paranormal. To her, ghosts, haunted houses, cemeteries, and other places were utter nonsense. While sitting at the dining room table, her piercing, brilliant blue eyes were looking up at her laptop screen, at a page full of sites regarding local hospitals, local cemeteries, and haunted houses that were popular with ghost hunters and paranormal groups. They visited over and over again. When she pulled her hair back, the cursor landed on a hyperlink to a supposedly cursed campsite. The website told her that the camp, where locals warned people to stay away, was almost too terrifying to visit. The testimonies that were written were made by people who stayed there. Two most recent testimonies were about whispers and strange noises. The most recent experience was that was posted on the website. It was about a person who drank the water from the stream a few feet behind the camp. That night, Paula wanted to ask her mom about going, but she knew the answer would be no about the campsite. The plan was to tell her mom that she was going to her friend's house. She got a single set of clothes, packed in a bag, then a tent, and then the directions. Before packing her car and leaving, she wrote a note saying, "I'm at my friend's house." Then she left the house for camp. She followed the directions to the campsite. Soon, the road turned to dirt and it was bumpy. When the camp appeared, it was surrounded by forest. The forest noises she heard were soothing to her ears. However, she felt like she was being watched, but looking around, no one was there. During the day at least, the camp looked nice. A few feet behind the camp was a stream. Putting up the tent was easy, since she'd been camping a lot with her family and had put up a lot of tents. After the tent was up, her second objective was to gather firewood for the fire. When she entered the forest, it was spooky. The canopy of trees made the forest look dark, but not horror movie type dark. Soon, when she got enough firewood for the fire, the next thing she would do was check the stream, the one that supposedly made the person sick after drinking the water. When the stream was found, she dipped a hand into it. The water was cool, slipping through her fingers. She pulled 3 canteens from her bag to fill up from the stream to the top. That night, she was starting the fire, getting her food ready to cook with the water, the fire lighting up the campsite. Soon, the food was done. When she finished her meal, she listened to the sounds of the forest. Soon after, she decided to go to bed. After she entered the tent, she could hear leaves on the bushes rustling outside, as if someone was walking around the camp. Strangely, she was unable to keep her eyes open, despite the perceived commotion. She fell fast asleep. She tossed and turned with fitful unrest, her stomach queasy. As the fire burned, the glow from the fire illuminated the campsite and inside the tent. She woke to see a shadow move just outside of her tent, beside it. After looking, she saw no one, and nothing was there. Paula continued her attempts at respite. But as the night continued, the pain grew worse in her stomach. Soon, whispers filled the forest as the sounds she listened to stopped again. The whispers started out softly and then grew louder, calling out her name. The pain in her stomach made it hard for her to sleep. What she thought were whispers unnerved her, so she packed up her tent. That night, she slept in the car. As she fell asleep, that uneasy feeling of being watched that came over her was true. She didn't know that just inside the woods, a tall, shadowy shape of a man was watching the campsite. The whispers continued throughout the night until dawn broke the sky. She packed up the car and turned the car around. She left the campsite, leaving it far behind her. After that night at the campsite, Paula felt much better. Her stomach returned to normal. Paula, the skeptic, became a believer of the paranormal and never returned to the campsite again.